The Tex 230 PE pneumatic breaker from Atlas Copco. This short video will outline the necessary steps you need to take in order to operate the breaker to its maximum efficiency. The site should be prepared in accordance with safety regulations. The importance of protective clothing is to keep your body safe from harm. The breaker is working under a lot of pressure, and there is always potential danger from flying stones, as well as incorrectly fitted hoses. A CAT scanner should be used to check for pipes and cables underground. Make long sweeping movements in both directions over the operation site. Before starting, check the rubber seals in the air hoses and replace them if necessary. Check there is oil in the oil bottle. Be sure to use the right kind. On the left is the rock drill oil, and on the right is the oil for the breaker. Unscrew the cap slowly. If there's compressed air inside, it will come out before the end of the thread. Remove the cap entirely. Put the cap upside down on something clean so as not to get any dirt on the threads. Open the correct oil. In this case, we're demonstrating with the rock drill oil. Wipe the top so you get a good seal. There's a rubber O-ring on here, so you'll feel a bit of resistance at the end. Tighten the cap fully. The oil flow on this can be adjusted by using a screwdriver in the slot here, turning anti-clockwise for increased flow and clockwise for reduced flow. This is an Atlas Copco water separator. It's known as a VAM-01 or a mini VAM. It's fitted into the airline with the airflow in the direction of the arrow embossed on the surface. To fit a standard whip check, open up a loop in the whip check. Feed the hose through the loop. Release the whip check on the hose behind the clamp on the hose. Bring the end of the hose to the compressed air source and fit the whip check, but do not connect the hose at this stage. Unkink any hose to avoid anyone being hurt by whipping. Lay out the small hose that will finally connect onto the breaker. Put the water separator on first, fitted with the arrow in line with the airflow. Secure the whip check and connect the water separator to the hose. Fit a whip check to the oil bottle. Check the rubber seal and that the arrow is in line with the airflow. Connect the whip check onto the oil bottle. Fit the coupling. Three connections, all whip checked. Airflow correct on the minivan. The arrow is pointing in the correct direction. Airflow on the oiler pointing in the correct direction. Check the working tool you are using is sharp and fit for purpose. The one on the left is worn and should not be used. The one on the right is okay. A worn tool will cause more vibrations through the breaker, which will be both uncomfortable for the operator and put more wear and tear on the unit. the work will take longer and require more effort. This is the service tool for the Tex 230 PE breaker. If it slides down the 32mm shank of the working tool, then the shank is worn and should not be used. It should not fit over the 32mm hex. Check the length of the shank. In this case, it should read 160mm. Whenever fitting the working tool, switch off the air supply and bleed the machine by pressing the start and stop device. Disconnect the machine from the power source. Lubricate the tool shank with grease and check it's free from grit and dirt. Close the tool retainer and check the lock function by tugging the inserted tool sharply outwards. Then connect the short hose with the whip check to the breaker. Check the oil daily. Place the machine vertically when checking the oil level and filling with lubricant. Wipe clean around the oil plug and remove. Check the threads are not damaged or worn out. Always replace parts with damaged or worn out threads. Check the O-ring. If missing or damaged, replace immediately. Fill the oil to the lowest thread. Tighten the plug firmly by hand and wipe off any excessive oil. Check the air swivel and air coupling are tight and can rotate freely. Check all the nuts and bolts fitted to the silencer are there and are tight. Check the handles are not damaged and can move up and down freely. Check both anti-vibration rubbers are not perished or cracked. Check the kick latch opens, closes and locks correctly. The handles here are in the up position. Normal working position should be round about midway, so the handles are in line across the tool. If the handles are pushed all the way down, the vibration-reducing springs will have no effect. So that's incorrect. That's correct, and that's the off position. Always check the oil level in the compressor before use. These are the maximum and minimum levels. The choke is for starting the machine when the engine is cold. When the engine is warm, no choke is required. This is the ignition switch. Turn it from the 0 to the 1 and from the 1 to start. Before fitting the hose to the compressor, check the rubber is in good condition and ensure the coupling is clean. At this stage, you could check the pressure from the compressor to the breaker. It should be no less than 6 bars. The machine has a 2-step trigger. This allows for a soft start when working on hard material. This gives the operator complete control of the machine. Stand in a stable position with your feet well away from the working tool. Press the machine against the working surface before you begin. Start cutting or breaking at such a distance from the edge that the machine is capable of breaking the material without levering. Never try to break off too large a piece. Adjust the breaking distance so the working tool does not get stuck. Switch off the compressor. Before disconnecting the breaker from the air line, bleed air from the breaker and air hose by depressing the trigger. Ensure the correct way to fit a working tool, either the chisel or asphalt cutter. The tool should be fitted with the blade in line with the handles. If fitted incorrectly by mistake, remove immediately and fit in the correct position. When removing the working tool, always wear gloves, as the working tool becomes very hot. Keep your hands away from the start and stop device until you are ready to start the machine. Learn how the machine is switched off in the event of an emergency, and stop the machine immediately in all cases of power supply interruption.